this defense, man.
Yeah, I think we're in a little bit different of a situation when you look at the defense. Obviously, we know the Lions' defense has struggled this year, but Seattle's defense has struggled about just as bad this year as the Lions have. You look at, I'm going to start with some obvious ones to get them out of the way first. I think safety is obviously Seahawks, especially with the loss of Tracy Walker. I think Quandre Diggs will be the best player on the field. We all know, we love, Quandre. We miss him. He was a great player in Detroit, but he's only since upped his game after he traveled out west. You look what he's done, man. Back-to-back Pro Bowl seasons in Seattle the past 2 years. Back-to-back 5 interception seasons in Seattle the past 2 years. In 2021, he racked up 94 tackles from his position as strong safety. So it's very impressive to see what this guy's doing. He is flourishing in Seattle. So I'm going to give the safety position to the Seahawks. Then I look at the cornerback situation. I think this is an obvious one as well, and I'm giving it to the Lions because Seattle's cornerbacks are kind of untested. They have a rookie in Kobe Bryant who is not putting up the best numbers. He's a good tackler, a sure tackler, but he is not the best in coverage.
Damn,
and
he's starting for them?
Yeah, and he is still working hard to try to get adapted to the NFL. And then you have Mike Jackson, that's pretty wild that their starting quarterbacks are Kobe Bryant and Mike Jackson. But Mike Jackson is not. I put Mike Jackson equals nobody. Like he hasn't been much in his career. He hasn't done much to warrant much use. He's having an all right season this year, but it's I think Jeff Okudah and Ermanni are better than both of those guys. And then we go to things that I'm looking at the linebacker position next.
Yeah.
And I gave it to the Seahawks. As much as I like our guy Malcolm Rodriguez, as much as I think he's having a great season.
You're getting hip tossed tomorrow.
What Jordan Brooks has done in his first couple seasons in the NFL is pretty astounding. You look at the stats from this guy, it's pretty wild. In 2021, he had 109 solo tackles. 109 solo tackles. He racked up 184 combined tackles on the season in 2021. That's an amazing stat. That is ridiculous. He has 32 tackles already this season. The guy's a monster. The guy's a ball hawk. He does nothing but get to the ball and make the tackles. And then you got Cody Barton on the other side. He also already has 27 tackles this season. He's got 1 sack. He is kind of an unproven guy. You look at the rest of his career before this year, he hasn't been in a starting role, so he doesn't put up that many numbers. But to have 27 tackles already this season is pretty impressive. As much as I like Malcolm Rodriguez, I think Jordan Brooks is the real deal. He's the guy they brought in to replace Bobby Wagner, and he has been doing it at an exponentially great level. It's insane that they just found possibly another generational linebacker after theirs already left. And then you go to the defensive line. This I give to the Lions in spades. Even with the injuries, I think Aiden Hutchinson is better than anybody on the Seahawks defensive line. You look at people inside, I think Aleem McNeil is better than either of the Seahawks defensive tackles. Really, the only person on the Seahawks defensive line that you're like, all right, he's going to be a problem is Quentin Jefferson. The guy is big. The guy makes plays. He gets into the backfield as well as plays well in the run game. But I think we can easily take care of him with the strength of our offensive line. But just basing a D-line, I'm going to give it to the Lions because I think Hutch and Charles Harris are better than Jefferson and Poona Ford. But it's kind of a toss-up for the defenses as a whole. They're both ranked pretty low so far this season. The Seahawks seem to struggle in the passing game more than they do in the rushing game. They're giving up about 240 passing yards per game, while only about 157 on the ground, and they're giving up 23 points per game. So while the Lions defense is also struggling to stop the ball, the Lions defense is giving up much more points than the Seahawks, about 12 more points per game than the Seahawks. So that's where it is. I think really the outliers on the Seattle defense, really the only 2 players that are like, all right, those guys are going to make some game-changing plays are Jordan Brooks and Quandre Diggs. I think those are the 2 guys that we're going to have to look out for on that defense.